So let me try going through the that first list of questions. So I'm referencing page 174 of the estimates. And as we look back and forward at a tendency here, between 2008-09 and this year of 11-12, we saw a very significant increase in the total budget for environment, followed by a steady 174?
142.
142. Sorry. Did I transpose them? Yes.
There's two.
Oh, sorry. Read from the wrong part. Sorry. So fairly good increase and then a kind of slower but steady decline. I'm wondering, given how important the environment is and our good name internationally, why there hasn't been better support, and this might be a difficult question for the Minister to answer, but why there hasn't been better support for a plateauing of his budget rather than a decrease of his budget, given the recession that we were in. Second question in that series is that there was a forecast last year of, it looks to us like 227.8 million, but the actual amount was quite a bit less at 199.7. So what money didn't get spent last year, and did that stay the same this year? Did it get replenished, or did it stay the same of whatever got cut out of the previous year? I'm a little concerned that stuff has been cut quite a bit and then it's going to stay at that level, and that's part of the trouble that we're experiencing in healthcare right now, so I don't want to see the same trend. There's also a great deal of fluctuation between the actuals and the budgeted amounts over the last couple of years, and I'm wondering what the minister, is there a particular reason why this budget is fluctuating consistently over the years? Now, I've just got one more question in that series, and on Section 2 of the estimates, so under policy, how exactly does the 74.8, how is this policy money spent? What do Albertans get for it? How exactly is it broken down? I mean, clearly we can see some general categories there, but I have no idea what programs are included in that or aren't included in that. So I will let the Minister just answer some of those questions very quickly.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I want to begin with some general comments. The member pointed out that our budget has climbed and appears to have dropped, and I tried to explain that in my opening comments. I don't think I did a very good job. So I want to point out that a lot of that, the reason why there are changes in our budget is because of the magnitude of some of the one-time charges that come into our budget. So I talked about the Eco Trust Fund. This was an injection of dollars that were federal dollars that basically passed through our budget, and we are over time allocating and expending those dollars, and as we run out of that fund, those dollars are no longer reflected in our budget. Those dollars are not used to pay for costs of operating Alberta Environment's budget. We made very, very clear to our staff that we didn't want to compromise our ability to do the work of the department by taking some of these one-time federal dollars and becoming dependent upon them within the department. And so that would be the reason why it would appear that the dollars are going less, because the amount of funding that's coming out of there is less. The other reason, as I explained, was that this year It's about the estimate for the emissions management fund is about $10 million less than it was last year. That too is a flow-through fund. Dollars come in, dollars go out. We are estimating that the amount that we collect will be less because we're seeing higher than anticipated take-up on some of our programs that were developed here in Alberta for offset credits. And so rather than paying the $15 a ton into our compliance fund, some of the designated emitters are finding opportunities to buy offsets. It's good news. They're Alberta-based offsets. That was the reason why we put the program in there in the first place. But those dollars then don't end up coming through our budget. And then finally, I did explain that last year we had included some of the settlement costs for the Bizano Dam. They actually went through in supplemental estimates. We just dealt with them a while ago, but they have to be reflected in the reporting for last year. So when we figure out when we report what we expect the forecast is going to be, we include those dollars because we expect that they will be expended in last year's budget. So those were, again, one time. They do not affect our ability to continue to operate the department for our operations side. The member also talked specifically about the policy side of our department, and there are as you can see outlined on the page 2.1 through to 2.5. 5 different areas where these dollars are allocated: air, land, and water policy. This is geared primarily towards policy development. So, and the kinds of things that we do there is provide leadership and policy advice for the development of the air quality management system. That's something that we've been doing on a national basis. Alberta has been taking the lead in developing the air quality management systems. We collaborate with the federal government and the provinces to implement that program. And it supports the development of air plans that feed into the land use framework. And so Alberta Environment, although we are not the ministry responsible for the Alberta land stewardship, we will be responsible for providing the scientific input in for the development of air and water limits and triggers along the way. It support the development and implementation of the greening government strategy, continue to implement our Too Good to Waste strategy. I won't go on because I've got a lot here. The other 2.2 is under climate change. So under climate change, there is the carbon, the technology fund, the emissions management fund. The flow-through amount is included in that climate change. It also includes our conservation energy efficiency programs that are reflected in there. The other main one, I think, would be it also includes the Eco Trust that I talked about a little bit earlier. And so, again, that's fairly reflective of the discussion that we've been having. 2.3 is clean energy. That's to address the cumulative effects on the oil sands region by developing strategies, management frameworks, and policies to support the Lower Athabasca Regional Plan. Policy innovation work that is currently underway to support Alberta Energy in establishing a single regulator and a systematic common risk and management approach. And finally, under the water policy, it's for reviewing and renewing the water policy framework for upstream oil and gas sector in support of enhancing Alberta's regulatory system and preparing our water management policy and systems for water events such as floods, droughts, and shortages, including responsive water allocation systems. So a number of the programs that we've had discussion with that are involving the actual development or application of policy would be included in this division.
Thanks very much to the Minister for those answers then. So I do hear him that essentially he's saying there hasn't been a drop in the money that's allocated to the Department of Environment, although it could it looks like it, but you've got the eco-trust money has been sitting in that account. It is essentially being drawn down, so every year there's less in it, and therefore your bottom line has less on it. And also you had those two settlements, which would also affect your bottom line, and the emissions management fund. Less is collected. Now,